All right. What is up, everyone? It is the commissioner here, Jimmy Milstead, and it is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. And this is episode 11, finally, of the Storks fantasy, the fantasy show that we bring to you for the league fantasy hockey on Yahoo Sports. And it being Thursday, January 5th, I want to throw a shout out to our deputy commish. It's his birthday, Mr. Kevin Stork, up there in Canada. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. 62 years young now. I'm getting old. Time to retire soon, but having a good day.
Right on, buddy. Well, I hope you're feeling better. It's been a couple weeks. We've had such a busy couple of weeks stretch. Me personally, some bad luck. Just a huge Christmas rush. I hope your holidays were good. A happy New Year out there. How was your Christmas? How was your holiday?
Well, we were both sick, the wife and I, and we had to cancel some plans. But we spent Christmas alone this year. But we got together with family and friends a little bit in between and a little bit after. So it's all good. Hopefully next year we'll both be feeling better. But there's a bad flu bug going around, and apparently it's hit down in Washington too. So yeah, it's a knockout one. This is not just your regular little flu bug. This was
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy, because I am experiencing it right now. We're on episode 11, and we're in week 13 of the Storksdesk, so we're a little bit behind on matching up with our week in the fantasy world of the professional hockey. It's been a fantastic season so far. Yeah, I had a decent Christmas with family. It's just it could have been better because I fell down at work on ice. I can't remember our last episode if I even talked about that. And last week, the cold you're talking about, I have some kind of non-COVID respiratory thing. So hopefully, the voices of us today come off okay and don't annoy our listeners. But we're gonna get through this, there, birthday boy. Now let's talk some hockey, man. A lot going on in the National Hockey League and the Fantasy League. Um, what's been standing out to you? We've had the World Juniors. We've had some hot teams like the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins. We had the Winter Classic. What's standing out to you right now?
Well, I mean, as far as the Winter Classic, it was quite a well entertaining game. It was actually fun to watch this year, and I managed to get through most of it, watch most of it, and of course, the Christmas holidays, the schedules and fantasy hockey are just a little weird. Some are short periods and games on weird days, and of course, having Christmas Eve and Christmas Day free of hockey made that a short week. But now that we're into January, we're going back to normal again.
Right on. Yeah, it's man, the biggest thing going on, Ali. I think what I've been keeping up with has been the World Juniors. Hats off to you and Canada. I thought it was a better game than the score. Lights out Thomas Milic and net. The World Juniors, the future stars that will be drafted in fantasy hockey. They've been putting on a clinic up there in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The gold medal games tonight, Canada, and the talk of the NHL world is going to be that draft pick, Connor Bedard. This kid has been playing lights out hockey for Team Canada. Plays for the Regina Pats there in the WHL. Unfortunately, he's not coming out to Seattle. I won't be able to see him this year. But what are your thoughts on some of these future kids that are going to be in our league in the NHL? Connor Bedard has been outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, like he's the next one we can call him. But as you know, there's some big junior stars that have a hard time adjusting to the NHL play. Take Shane Wright, for instance. I mean, he's still young and everything like that. but things haven't gone as smooth for Shane Wright as he would have probably hoped. But he's got a lot of talent, and he might just have to adjust his attitude a little bit. He comes off a little cocky, but he's a hell of a hockey player, but he needs to adjust to the NHL for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's been a fun watch. That culminates tonight as Canada takes on Czechia. The Czechs have been looking real good. In fact, they beat Canada in that opening round matchup in tournament play, the round robin, and it should be a great game. Right now, I think USA and Sweden are going. I don't have it up on my TV because I want the internet to flow better. Last I checked, I thought USA was up by 1, but that's for the bronze medal. But anyways, I think the World Juniors has been outstanding. And well, let's talk some fantasy hockey here, Stork. The meat of this show is going to be the world famous Prognosticators midseason report cards of our. We should probably go back and review a little bit of the season here of the league since we're in week 13. The last time we talked to you was week 10. So week 11 results. This was a divisional round match. The second meeting between Ovechkin and Gretzky division opponents against each other. The Americans ended up beating the Texas Freezing Kuznetsovs 13-7. The Langley Scorpions and the Gretzky defeated DB Cooper. That was a big win for Stork, 14-6. The Washington Wendigo continue to have a decent season. They defeated the Woody Woodpeckers 14-5 back in week 11. The Wyoming Great Apes, they are continuing to be the number 1 seed in hockey right now, fantasy hockey league here. Josh Halsey's got his squad humming, and he's only had 3 pickups this year. He beat Nova Fire Brigade 13-7. That was a big divisional matchup. Prognosticators, arguably also the other best team in the league. They dominated the Frozen Norsemen back in week 11, 18-2 Stork. And then the DuPont Pipe Players, they got beat pretty bad by Julio's Huma. Tim Kelly still working out kinks there in DuPont land. I had an opportunity to go to a hockey game with him during Christmas break. He's getting things sorted out. He'll be back. But he lost 17-5 back in week 11. Week 12 matchups real quick. That was last week. Adna dropped a huge one against Wyoming. So Wyoming continues to have sole possession of the Ovechkin division. With that win, he won. Josh did 11-7. Langley Scorpions, you guys did a pretty good job beating the DuPont Pipe Players. Tim Kelly struggles yet again. He is 12. That score was 12-7. The Woody Woodpeckers finally get a win. They beat the struggling Texas Freezing Mike Kuznetsovs 11-8. DB Cooper back in the win column against the Frozen Norsemen. They won 12-7. The Wendigo, they have had no problem beating Scott Lanham's Nova Fire Brigade, who changed his logo this week. He's looking fierce. I love that logo, Scott. The Nova Fire Brigade, though, has been on a cold streak. They lost to Washington 15-6 in week 12. And then Prognosticators 13-6 over Huma back in week 12. And now we're caught up, Stork. We're in week 13 on Thursday. Scores currently, sorry about people are just blowing my phone up right now. The Americans currently hold a lead 13-8 on Nova Fire Brigade, 13-8. Langley, you are in a battle with Huma, currently down 10-9. Long way to go, though. Texas Freezing Mike Kuznetsovs, they have a big lead on Washington Wendigo, 15-6. So way to go, Jaden. Trying to get out of that last place spot. DB Cooper is handling Probert Etiquette for a second straight game. DB Cooper, one of the only teams to ever beat Probert. That's 12-5 currently. Wyoming Great Apes against the Woody Woodpeckers has a big match here. It's 10-9. It's real close. Mark's hanging with Josh Halsey. And then, wow, Frozen Norsemen are just pounding DuPont. And this is a big game. Battle of 3 and 9s. 19-1. So, what are you thinking, Stork? As we look at the standings, any change?
I was going to say that DuPont and Norseman game, yeah, they're both 3 and 9, but that is a big game for both teams. A game like this could turn the season around for one of these teams, but boy, DuPont, they're getting the pipes laid to them by the Frozen Norsemen, and huge game there for sure.
Yeah, the Frozen Norsemen, they made some questionable moves. We've talked about it on the show before, or at least the Commissioner's Corner. He's just getting players that I guess he says there's cancers in the locker room for him. Got rid of Pat Kane. Vlad Tarasenko's been an injury problem for him. He didn't know Brad Marchand's status, and he dropped him early on in the season when he started on the IR. He's hurt, probably kicking himself for that one. A couple other questionable moves. It seems like the team picking up all of his garbage has been proper etiquette. So another man's trash is another man's treasure, I guess. But I think the biggest game of the week could be yours, Langley and Huma battle up. Well, Huma's 5-6-1. You are 6-6. This one, man, it's a crucial matchup. I believe Julio has beaten you the first time. These divisional matchups. What are you thinking in this match, Stork?
Yeah, I mean that's a big game too. Seventh versus eighth place, so one of those teams could creep in the top six. Like we've talked about before, we've got some separation starting to happen. And it's going to get more separated as the season goes by. But yeah, that's a big game for my team and Huma.
And before we dive into your report cards here, that's going to be the bulk of our show. Let's go to Don Cherry while we have him. His power rankings. We won't go back a few weeks. We'll just do this week's. I'm trying to look for, actually, there's so much content on my wall here. I'm on my Facebook page. But the last 2 weeks, Josh Halsey is our number one ranked team. You could flip-flop him for Dave. But Wyoming, the fact that this guy has only made 3 pickups all season, he made his third move when Ryan of the St. Louis Blues, I believe it's a broken hand or something. He has fought himself on the shelf for about 6 weeks. But Josh Halsey, amazing that he's had this great of health. Hopefully this does not open the floodgates for him, but he has consistently been the number one ranked team for Don Cherry. Dave, Probert Etiquette could arguably be the best team in the league and probably is the best team in the league according to Yahoo. He has been consistent at the number 2 hole. Don Cherry's got DB Cooper, Mark Raven at number 3. Poll. The Washington Wendigo, they keep fluctuating. They are back at the number 4 spot. They were in the number 6 spot last week. Nova Fire Brigade have been constantly falling down the ladder. No pun intended. Ladder 54 or whatever that show is called. Down the ladder is he's going to make his way back up the power polls. He's down to number 5. He was a number 1 ranked team a lot this season. Adna constantly around the 6th spot. They are number 6 right now. They dropped from 5. Langley, you moved up. Stork, birthday boy, from 8 to 7. Woody Woodpecker is in the 8th hole right now. Huma dropped down to number 9. DuPont Pipelayers, Frozen Norsemen, and Texas Freezing Kuznetsov have all been the consistent bottom dwellers, unfortunately. Tim at number 10. Frozen Norsemen 11. And Jaden, unfortunately, still just 1 win. By the way, who did he get that win against? It was you, Kevin Stork. We never went over that, but what happened that week? But anyways, Jaden brings up the rear at number 12. So Stork, we'll hand it over to you. Let's talk report cards.
Yeah, well, like I promised before Christmas, I would have the report cards out after week 12 or so, and I delivered as promised.
Yeah, let's just go through team by team, shall we?
Sure. Well, let's start off with the DB Cooper, who was 8-4, and like I wrote on the offensive side, DB Cooper is electric. They've got some stats, and I ranked them high for that reason. And the goaltending isn't too bad. They rank 4th in goals against and save percentage, so that's not too bad in a 12-team league. And with that kind of offense, DB Cooper could be a team to be reckoned with going down the stretch if they can keep those numbers up. So I gave them a high grade of A+. Pro Bear Etiquette.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, they've been consistent all season, and their 9-3 record shows that. Offensively, they're first and second in a lot of categories, and third. Most of their offensive stats are above league average, and this to go with a paltry minus 42 plus minus. So you
Wow.
got to question how did that happen with these high offensive numbers? But they really are a minus 42. But their goaltending has hung up. It's been pretty steady. Third in goals against and second in save percentage. You can't argue with that. They do rank 10th in win losses, but those other numbers certainly made up for it. And Pro Bear Etiquette is going to be another team to reckon with. If they're not reckoned with now, boo. I gave them an A.
Yep.
The Langley Scorpions, my team. We've been inconsistent for most of the season, and our 6-6 record shows it. But offensively, we've got some good numbers up there. We're third and fourth on average in most scoring categories. The goaltending hasn't been as good, but definitely not horrible. But we've been inconsistent. We've lost some games that we should have won. And I'll go back to that Texas game 3 weeks ago. I mean, that's a game you got to win if you want to be over 500, which is why I'm not right now. So I gave myself a C+. The Woody Woodpeckers, who are now 5-7, they seem to have settled down a little bit after a rocky start. They rank fourth in goals and block shots and third in shots. They also rank sixth in points and game winners and face-off wins. So not too bad. Their numbers are coming up because they, if you remember, they got off to a bit of a rocky start themselves. But the goaltending has been a little better, but not consistent yet. But that 5-7 record, they're back in the race, and I gave them a C-. The Washington Wendigo, which we talked about a little while ago, they're 7-4-1, and that's another team that got off to a really bad start. They were way behind in all offensive categories, but they seem to have found ways to win games still at that 7-4-1 record. They rank first in face-offs and fifth in goals and penalty minutes, so they've been playing some rough hockey. And we also ranked them sixth in power play points, so that's not bad. Those numbers are going up for Washington because it was I think they were dead last in a lot of categories the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. The goaltending could be a little better, but it's not terrible. They are ranking 11th in win-loss record. They are ranking 7th in save percentage and 8th in goals against average. But, I mean, it's hard to argue with a 7-4 record. But if they can address some scoring issues, they could be a team to watch out for in the last half of the season with only, 9 games left. So we gave them a C.
Oh, real quick, Stork. What's struggling for Washington is, man, what a player Jake DeBrusk has been. He ended up, fracturing a fibula or something on a block shot during the Winter Classic. He's been coming up big for Wendigo. I know Waylon, I talked to him. He's crushed about that. He's had some injuries himself, and he's weathered the storm. So that'll be a huge loss for Jake.
Yeah, it could be. That could be. He's going to have to find some players to make up for it.
Yeah.
That's where depth comes in, Jimmy. Got to have some depth players in there, right?
Right on. That's pretty much what DeBrusk was.
What was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's pretty much what DeBrusk has been. He's been a great depth player.
Yeah.
He's
And
having a
he's ended
phenomenal
up
year.
scoring a lot of big goals for Boston and for
Exactly.
Washington, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, that's going to be a tough loss for Washington because he's been one of their better players for sure. Let's go over to the Nova Fire Brigade, who are 7-5. They had some impressive offensive stats in the first half. They ranked first in assists and game winners, and they ranked second in points and third in power play points and faceoff. They also ranked sixth in goals, but the other stats they rank below average. So they've been a little inconsistent with some of their offensive stats, but they're 7-5. Another team that, pardon me, they've found ways to win. Gold, pardon me, Jimmy. Here comes that hack.
I feel you, man.
Goaltending, they ranked fifth in games started and sixth in goals against, but they ranked 10th in save percentage. So they got some work to do in the goalie department. But they do have the firepower to do some damage in the second half. So, another team to watch out. We've got so many teams that are still ripping and ready to get into that top six. So it's going to be a dogfight down the stretch. We gave them a C+.
Yeah.
Now that interesting team, the Wyoming Great Apes, 9-3 this year. Wow.
Yeah.
This club
Unreal.
is another example of a team who's consistent in most all categories. They rank first in penalty minutes. They're bad boys, and third in hits. So that tells you that they've got some rough and tumble players in that lineup. They also rank fourth in shots and fifth in assists and power play points. The other stats for the scoring is ranked average or slightly below average. But hey, they're 9-3, and the reason why is the goaltending has been lights out. Let me tell you, they rank third in win losses and save percentage, and second in goals against average. So if you want to know why they're 9-3, take a look at their goaltending because it's been really good.
Yeah.
And,
What are your thoughts? Everybody, not to interrupt the report cards here, but like, I got to say, Logan Thompson of the Vegas Golden Knights has got to be up there for that Calder with Beniers. He probably is not getting talked about as much because he did play last year, but he's still eligible. He's been he's been a great goaltender for Josh. Him and that Shesterkin in New York, just a great 1-2 punch. Josh has only needed 2 goalies, and man, he's getting it done.
yeah, he's getting it done, and we gave him an A for the effort because. Yeah, I mean 9-3, they're right on top of the league, and no reason to think with these stats that they're going to fall too far down. So yeah, they're looking good for sure.
Right.
Now we're going to go over to the Adna Americans, who are 7-5. That's Jimmy's team. Their main weapon has been goaltending. They're number 1 in the league in goaltending, and most all goaltending stats. Still, and you've been like that for like pretty much the whole season. You've been right up there.
We hit a bump in the road last night. He's been struggling in Detroit. They're coming back down to earth. He gave up 5 goals last night, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to have some bad nights, that's for sure. Yeah. But overall, you're right up there, that's for sure. You rank second in game-winning goals and third in assists, and fourth in power play minute or points. So your power play is doing pretty darn good. And you also rank fifth in points and shots. So that's not bad. The other scoring stats are slightly below average, but not too bad. And like I said, the goaltending is first and second and first and second. And for that, we gave you a B-. Just because you have a 7-5 record. If it was a little better, we might score you a little higher. But
yeah, the division's been tough.
Jimmy.
The division's been tough.
Well, you're still holding on to that last playoff spot, I believe. Is it you?
Yeah.
I'll be right up with you, Jimmy. Give me a couple more weeks.
Yeah, we got some big games coming.
You bet. Now we're going to go to the Frozen Norsemen. Ouch. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about in this inaugural 22-23 season. They rank 4th in penalty minutes and 5th in faceoff wins. And the rest of the scoring categories is awful at best. Dead last in assists and points, 11th in game winners and blocked shots. And the goaltending hasn't been that much better. However, they are 7th in win-losses, but that's nothing to write home about. 9th in save percentage and 10th in goals against average. Lots of holes to fill for the Norsemen, and it's a good thing that they're off to a good start this week because they need a win for sure. And we had to give them a D for that 3-9 record and those horrible stats. The DuPont Pipelayers is another team that struggled all year, and offensively, what was that? Come again, Jimmy.
Oh, I was just saying, Timmy Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
DuPont. Nothing. I was just saying his name. Sorry.
Yeah, they're 3-9. Struggled all year. They do rank 4th in hits, while the rest of the ranking is well below league average. And the goaltending, oh my God, Jimmy, they're the worst ranking last in every category. And they really got to address some goaltending. And we've talked about their goaltending woes a few weeks ago, and they're getting worse, not better, that's for sure. They got goaltending in there, and if they add some depth in all categories, they can make a run for, a chance to stay in the race, but they got to start winning some games, and that doesn't appear to be happening this week. So they're going to get a D- from the prognosticator. Yuma, big game with me and Yuma this week. They're 5-6-1, and inconsistently, like Langley, has been an issue for Yuma all season. They got off to an awful start themselves, but they finished pretty much better in the second half of the first half of the season. And they're right in that playoff mix right now. Pardon me. They're sitting 7th right now, which is, they're in range for sure. They rank 2nd in block shots and face-off wins, 6th penalty minutes and hits. So they're throwing their weight around a little bit and getting some points there. But the other scoring categories are a little below average. Their goaltending has been a rather strong point lately as they rank 1st in games started, along with 8th in win-losses and save percentage. And they rank 9th in goals against average, when that's a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. All in all, this team has come a long way in the last few games, and they've gotten themselves almost to 500. And big game for him and myself this week, but we gave him a C-. Last but not least, but they are last and least, is Texas teasing your Kuznetsov. They got to win. They beat me, and I'm totally embarrassed by that. I didn't want to be the first victim of Texas, but however I am. It was a well-deserved win for him, and I'm happy for him that way. I just didn't want it to do it to me. Aside from ranking 2nd in penalty minutes and hits, and ranking 4th in face-off wins, 6th in block shots, you need a microscope to see his scoring stats because they're all at the bottom of the list.
Wow.
And, that's why they're 1-9-2. They've got to get some scoring. Goaltending wise, not nearly as bad. They rank 4th in win-losses, and they're 5th in goals against average, so that's not too bad. So goaltending has not been the problem in Texas. It's all scoring. And if they can get some scoring, they can get a little experience in there. And starting in the 2023-24 season, they can have a whole new fresh start and have a better idea of what they need to do in this league. But they're going through the pains, that's for sure. And we're going to give them a D-.
Wow, Jaden, I was talking to him the other day. He was expecting an F, so very, very generous to Stork here. I will say, Jaden,
it's the Christmas spirit,
Yeah. I will say Jaden has some snipers on his team. Definitely not having as good as years last year's Chris Fry. He was a 50-goal scorer last year, was he not?
Yeah.
Yanni Gordy's got Cal McCarr on the blue line. Kuznetsov's got some good assists, but he's not. Kuzi had a better year last year. Brock Besser's kind of a mess there in Vancouver, inconsistent, in and out of the lineup all the time. Vic Arvidsson can put. He's usually banged up, but he's been playing good for the Kings. Clayton Keller there in Arizona, who I think Arizona's, they're a bottom dwelling team, but they've been better than last year.
He's got a lot of players that have a lot of talent. Like let's take McCarr, for instance. You look at his numbers, and he's having a bit of an off year in Colorado this year.
Yeah.
And of course, you talk with Arvidsson. He's a heck of a hockey player, but he's been hurt most of the year, so he hasn't had a whole lot of luck with players being injured or players not quite living up to their expectations. So it's definitely cost him.
And another big-time player, he had a hat trick the other day for Jaden, but Matt Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers, they're just not the same team as they were last year. President's Trophy winners. Something's just not right with that team. They lost a lot. They already were kind of lacking defensively, but I think Matt Tkachuk's way better than probably he's been producing on a team. So that kind of hurts Jaden as well. He's got some great players, but he'll get out of this funk at some point. Maybe not this year, but we'll see. But Stork, great job on the report cards, buddy. As this is pretty much going to wind down our show. Just looking at the standings real quick, I want to go over division records. Probert Etiquette 8-1 in his division. You got DB Cooper at 7-2. So those guys, that's why they're the top of their division right there. Langley, you're 5-4. Huma is 3-6 in the division, and then you got DuPont and Frozen Norseman. Somebody's going to go to 3-7. They're both 2-7. Wyoming, there's only 6-3 in their division. So Josh has not been the greatest in the division, not as dominant as Probert and DB Cooper. You got the Washington Wendigo at 6-2-1 in their division. Adna is at 6-3. That's how they're probably floating. They're doing a great job in the division. They're not as good out of the division. Nova Fire Brigade's only 5-4 in the division. That's been their swan song here the last few weeks. They just can't get the division battles going. Woody Woodpeckers is only 3-6, and then Jaden, he's 0-8-1 in the division. So the division matchups, like we talk every episode, are probably the most important thing going here. Definitely for tie-breaking procedures. So we got some great matchups. Like we said, Stork, next week is a huge Ovechkin versus Gretzky division. But we got to finish this week first. Any final thoughts on this week, Stork? As man, we got through it, buddy. Let's get healthy, dude. Happy birthday, too. Any plans for your birthday today?
We're going to go to Boston Pizza, and I'm going to have some lasagna. Maybe that'll help my hacky throat.
Hell yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, the wife is going to take me to Boston Pizza for dinner tonight, so that'll be nice.
All right. Oh, real quick, we were talking about this offline probably a year ago. They don't have that pickle pizza still, do they?
I hope not, and I don't want that on my menu, that's for sure.
What in the hell
is that even a joke or what?
What in the hell is going up there in Canada, Stark? Ketchup chips.
No pickle pizza in our house, so I'll tell you. Right.
My girls love poutine, but I still question that. Soggy fries. I don't know, man. All in all, whatever you like, You know, it's all
Poutine's
about.
not too bad, Jimmy, if you've never had
Yeah.
it before. With some curd
But
cheese and gravy, it's pretty darn good, buddy.
right on. All right, buddy. Well, have a great. You said you're 62 years young. I thought you looked 39, buddy.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Benny. If anybody doesn't know who he is, look him up. But anyway, Stork, have a great birthday dinner, and we'll talk to you next week on the Storks Report. Like Badger Bob always says, it's a great day for hockey. Good luck in your fantasy matchups, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. The commissioner and the deputy are out.